Get ready, 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, I was mentioning the need for trained cooperative personnel. On the one side, we have to train the non officials in cooperative principles, and on the other side, as a permanent skeleton for running all cooperative institutions, we should have training of cooperative personnel. In this connection, Mr. Vice Chairman, I would like to appreciate the beginning that has been made in training non officials in cooperation. This has been attempted on a scale which has not been done hitherto, but more than any cooperative principles, the human element, the element of character, the element by which people will stand up to certain cooperative principles rather than their own selfish purposes is what is wanting in many of our cooperative societies. This cannot be improved by legislation. Nobody can legislate a people into good behavior. This can only be done by constantly training people, telling people the principles we stand for, and appreciating the people who attach themselves to these principles. With regard to the training of cooperative personnel, I do not know about other states, but as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, there are three institutions which give 1 year training in cooperation, 1 year's training for graduates who are considered as senior inspectors, and another for a school finals and above who are called junior inspectors, but a better type of cooperative training institution has arisen which the Ministry of Cooperation should utilize, called the rural institutes. The rural institutes today provide a 3 year course in cooperation. It is one of the unfortunate things in our country that on the one side we train people, and on the other side we do not use trained personnel. We know the number of people we send to foreign countries for training in various types of engineering fields, and when they return, we use them just in the wrong places, and many of them feel frustrated because they are not utilized in the fields for which they were trained. Even today, in the case of the rural institutes, we find that they produce 100 to 150 graduates in cooperation, but they are not being utilized. Every one of them can be employed with benefit to the cooperative movement. There are also two institutions, one in Coimbatore and another in Udaipur, where a 2 year course is given after a 3 year graduate course, and this has been declared by the Ministry of Home Affairs as equivalent to a postgraduate degree in cooperation, but these boys are not being utilized. And the funny thing about it is that when the National Cooperative Union advertised for posts. It asked for MAs in agricultural economics but not for MAs in cooperation. This is all the more surprising because the Education Ministry had received a letter from the National Cooperative Union saying that these postgraduates in cooperation would be utilized by the National Cooperative Union. In spite of all this, in the advertisement, they called for all accepting postgraduate students in cooperation. This only shows the lack of coordination between the Ministry of Cooperation and the Ministry of Education. I hope Mr. Vice Chairman, the Ministry of Cooperation will see that these people who are trained specifically on a request made by representatives of the Cooperation Ministry and the Reserve Bank and who have undergone a 2-year course after graduation are properly utilized. Hereafter, at least, I hope that people will choose those who have studied cooperation and have undergone a course of training that has been provided by the state at huge expenditure. Now, I come to the next important aspect of cooperation, and that is with regard to cooperative financing. Recently, our apex banks have been strengthened. Recently, we also passed legislation here in this house by which amounts up to 1500 crores would be advanced for cooperative marketing. It has not reached the maximum, but I hope we are taking steps so that cooperative finance will improve. Today, if we take statistics, we will find that financing by the cooperative sector has increased many times. I must accept that if I remember all right, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, it has become 5, 6, 7, and even 10 times in certain areas. And while this is good, so far as it goes, greater facilities should be provided for further expansion if the movement is to touch the people. If it is merely to be an example of a society here and there, it is another matter. But if our policy is as it has been proclaimed to be, that we want to expand all our activities through the cooperative sector so that the people will have a say and the people will do it in the best possible manner for the good of the people, then the finance that we provide is not very sufficient. As I said before, Mr. Vice Chairman, the amount invested in the cooperative sector has been increased considerably in recent years.